And here we go, guys. We're going to get into this beautiful match here. TRUEWHALE versus RAIGEKI, a best of 5. We're going to be getting into the pre-bans shortly. A lot of things could happen here.
Yeah, and I've actually been looking forward to this matchup a lot because it is very technical, and it really all revolves around what RAIGEKI does have or does not have in his box. We know RAIGEKI does not have Dominic and Oliver. We know that in his box he has the best Juno, one of the best Junos in the world here. So TRUEWHALE wisely taking away the segment, RAIGEKI taking away the Tian Lang, probably anticipating that he's going to want to rely on his Juno later, and does so right off the bat.
Slamming down these picks very quickly. TRUEWHALE with the Shizuka, RAIGEKI with the Nana in a very early Juno once again.
Yeah, and I like the Juno pick from RAIGEKI at this point. It really doesn't hurt to lay it down here, and it's really good in the Shizuka. I'm not sure about the Shizuka pick from TRUEWHALE. Kind of makes it awkward. Ragdoll, of course, is a great pick into a Nana and a Juno, and we see that Dominic from TRUEWHALE.
Yep, Dominic coming in for TRUEWHALE as well. A lot of damage on the side of TRUEWHALE already. RAIGEKI looking to respond to these two units. We haven't seen a Miles yet, and I think a Miles might be heavily favoring TRUEWHALE's draft now that Amasha's on the field.
Yeah, and we have that Masha coming out from RAIGEKI, and we do see the Abuelio. I do like that Abuelio a lot. We've noted in the previous matches that TRUEWHALE's Dominic hits very hard, so there's a very good chance that Dominic trips off the Abuelio, and it's going to make it very awkward for TRUEWHALE. So TRUEWHALE may want to think about banning out the Abuelio at some point. We'll see what he decides to do, where his head's at with these next two picks, but I like that draft from RAIGEKI so far.
I do like it indeed. Ooh, a Molly. I feel like I'm not a fan of Molly in today's draft. Just feels a little too passive in my opinion. Miles is going to be drafted for TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, and I do not like that Molly here. I mean, as you called out earlier, that Miles, solid pick from TRUEWHALE. I do not like that Miles, especially when there's a Juno on the field. I think that Juno is a little awkward in a Molly, but not RAIGEKI's Juno. That Juno hits so hard. It's going to allow him to take a lot of turns. Volantis, great pick as always here. So I think RAIGEKI probably looking to take out that Ragdoll, given how much additional turns, how many crits he's going to take. RAIGEKI's going to take out that Ragdoll, and we might see TRUEWHALE take out that Nana to make things awkward, or the Abuelio. And decides to take out that Masha, and we see that Molly leading the field.
Yeah, Molly's going to get banned out here for TRUEWHALE. Masha's going to get banned out as well. HP lead for TRUEWHALE. Crit rate lead for RAIGEKI. We're kicking it off, guys, with our very first match in a best of 5. TRUEWHALE, RAIGEKI.
And so this is going to be a long match here. We're going to see a lot of back and forth here. It's going to be tough for TRUEWHALE to find an opening because there is a very good Abuelio from RAIGEKI's side of the field. So TRUEWHALE's going to need to string together a couple of procs to get that burst and get a kill in.
Yeah, full value right there out of that Volantis. A lot of damage coming from Dominic, which we've stated before. It's going to be pummeling a lot of damage in here. We do have some things available to a third skill of the Shizuka. Let's see what he goes for. He goes for the skill 2 on his Shizuka instead.
Yeah, and TRUEWHALE's here, this Ragdoll is going to get a lot of value. There's so many crits coming out from RAIGEKI's side, so TRUEWHALE's going to take so many turns over and over and over again. And that's a massive Despair Stun onto that Dominic from RAIGEKI.
Yeah, big Despair Stun, and also great damage coming out of that Juno as well, which we've also stated this Juno's going to be slamming the damage in.
Yeah, so much damage to that Abuelio, also critting that Dominic, so that Dominic just taking so much pressure here. I'm not sure if TRUEWHALE's going to be able to keep it alive. He doesn't have a healer, so if he loses that Dominic, he's going to lose the ability to do a lot of pressure, to apply a lot of pressure and burst down a unit.
Yeah, most definitely. We're going to see Ragdoll looking to do some damage to this Nana. Nana still has that one stack. No units have been taken away from this field yet. Looks like TRUEWHALE's going to put his focus into that Nana with the Miles as well. We do have a heal that is going to be blocked on the other units, so RAIGEKI keeping that in mind here.
RAIGEKI holding off on using skill 3 from the Abuelio. One of the best Abuelio users I've seen, knows when to hold off on using skill 3 and hold off on using his skills. That's a lot of damage coming out from that Dominic.
That's a lot of damage coming out from Dominic indeed. He has that skill 2 still available. He can use it to take away pretty much any unit from RAIGEKI's team. We know what kind of damage could come out here, but we've got a big strip, no strip coming up from the Juno here.
No strip coming out from Juno. Really interesting choice here. We're probably looking at not wanting to give Ragdoll all that attack bar here, but I don't know if that's going to be a mistake. If this Dominic gets another turn, if it somehow resists another strip down the line here, TRUEWHALE could find a way to down something of RAIGEKI's.
Ooh, Despair Stun going out onto the Dominic here. And now we've got another first skill going into the Ragdoll.
Wow, and that's a stunned up Dominic. My head is spinning here, seeing that Dominic just stunned there, not able to move.
Ooh, no Despair Stuns going out, but the Dominic is going to be revived with that Soul Protection. No skills up for the Shizuka. Everybody is Despair Stunned. We've got Miles looking to try and pummel the damage, still on top of that Nana.
Yeah, RAIGEKI looking so good here. There's an orb on that Nana. There's defense breaks across TRUEWHALE's units here, so I think RAIGEKI's in a good spot. That Belly is going to do a lot of damage, and so is that Juno coming up here.
Yeah, most definitely. We can see a first kill going into the Dominic. Juno is going to remove that Dominic from the field. That's another orb going up on top of the Nana here. No additional turns coming up from the Shizuka. Big wild blow going out onto the Ragdoll. TRUEWHALE at a 2-unit deficit right now.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE at a 2-unit deficit. Definitely lost game 1 there. Goes to RAIGEKI with a powerful performance with that Juno, with that Nana.
That is correct. RAIGEKI taking round 1 away from TRUEWHALE.
Interesting way that match panned out there. I thought he would ban out that Ragdoll, but I do like his choice there to leave that Ragdoll on the field and just do damage over time. Felt like that Abuelio was going to make it awkward for TRUEWHALE, and that's why I thought he would think about banning out that unit, because if that Abuelio's in there, it's really hard to sink a kill. It's hard to remove units, even if you get a couple of procs, because there's that heal lying in wait, and RAIGEKI's just really good at knowing when to preserve that heal. So I think TRUEWHALE could have thought about taking out Abuelio, but really masterful play from RAIGEKI there. I really like how he set up his draft. Just ultimately just was able to do a lot of damage and take out TRUEWHALE's units.
Yeah, most definitely. He did get some really nice stuns there to keep TRUEWHALE back from doing any, having some really great moments for him. Getting rid of the Nana definitely seemed to be the priority for TRUEWHALE. He just wasn't able to get any value with any really big-time violent procs to really, pummel the damage in on top of RAIGEKI. RAIGEKI was able to hold him back.
Yeah, and I feel like that might be the caster curse that you're trying to bring in there when you take a pause and say procs there. But I think that, again, this is a very technical matchup. It's going to be about a technical draft. It's going to be about who has what in RAIGEKI's box, how they're going to draft around RAIGEKI's box, because everything is going to revolve around what he has and doesn't have, because TRUEWHALE has everything in this game between these two players. He has every single unit. So as we go into the next set of pre-bans here, I wouldn't be surprised to see TRUEWHALE take out that Juno. That Juno gives RAIGEKI a lot of versatility in this draft. It does so much damage here. And I think RAIGEKI's going to take out another LD unit. Chooses to take out the Moore. Interesting pick there. And a Ciara pre-ban from TRUEWHALE is a little odd, given that we didn't even see a Ciara coming out from RAIGEKI. But we also know that it's probably one of his only speed leads, given that he doesn't have an Oliver.
Yeah, that's super interesting to see the pre-bans coming out as a Ciara and a Moore. Shizuka getting prioritized this time by RAIGEKI, not the Nana. But I feel like I prefer Nana on TRUEWHALE's side of the field, because he could definitely bring a lot more aggression than RAIGEKI can.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting pick here that both of them prioritize the Shizuka over each other. Shizuka is generally pretty weak into Juno, so I thought TRUEWHALE would have fought to steal that Juno earlier, but instead does not. RAIGEKI quick slamming down that Volantis and the Juno here. I would like to see a Veramos from TRUEWHALE, and I don't think we're going to see it. It's just such a niche pick, but a Veramos would do so much here. We do see the Ragdoll. Ragdoll is a very good pick here. Tianlang would not have been bad instead of that Ragdoll, because it provides a little bit more offensive capability, but either unit is great in this situation.
Yeah, very interesting. So I'm not a big fan after seeing a Volantis Juno coming out of RAIGEKI. I feel like a predictability is coming out of RAIGEKI, but we'll see how it works out from Oberon getting hovered over right now. Oberon Shizuka is an excellent combination.
Wow, and RAIGEKI actually has a lot of threat on the table. He has a lot of damage over time from the Volantis, from the Juno, and has a Shizuka Oberon combination. I love this Narsha pick from TRUEWHALE here. Basically, it's threatening a kill off the bat here. RAIGEKI's going to really need to think about banning either the Narsha or the Nana here to make it awkward, but to be able to survive here. But that Abuelio also makes it super awkward. If that Oberon is not removed from RAIGEKI's side, RAIGEKI might not have the burst to get through an Abuelio.
Ooh, Shizuka is going to get the ban, and Nasha is going to get the ban as well. A very interesting draft for this round 2.
Yeah, we're going to see that Oberon die at some point in this game here, giving TRUEWHALE a stack here. So RAIGEKI's going to need to have enough damage over time from these 3 units to be able to take on 5 lives on TRUEWHALE's side.
Most definitely. Let's get into it, guys. TRUEWHALE RAIGEKI, round 2. Big damage coming out from this Dominic with an additional turn as well.
Wow, that is a massive additional turn. Downs the Volantis off the bat with additional turn here.
That is massive aggression coming out of TRUEWHALE. The proc on that Dominic was huge. Juno looking to get any grasp of hope to keep RAIGEKI into this match here.
And this is so difficult. RAIGEKI does not have any burst here. He's got a lot of additional damage from the Praha and the Juno, but does not have burst. I mean, there is that Oberon, but that Oberon's not going to be able to take anything out because there's 2 stacks on the Nana, so lots of protection coming out from TRUEWHALE's side. I'm not really sure what RAIGEKI's win condition is right now.
Definitely a lot of damage there going out on the Baleo, but oh, additional turn coming out of this Dominic, looking to pummel in more damage on top of the Praha. He does have that sustain to get his team back up here. He's trying to get rid of that Avelio as soon as possible. There is one more orb left in the tank.
Yeah, I got to get rid of that Avelio. That is a big proc coming out from that Juno because every bit of damage is massive here. But RAIGEKI's staring down a lot of damage coming from this Dominic and Ragdoll. TRUEWHALE really needs an orb on this Nana.
Oh, a beautifully timed heal coming out of the Abelia while he was really, really low. A lot of damage going out onto this Praha, and I'm assuming TRUEWHALE is going to be pummeling that damage to get another orb as soon as possible.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE's going to be pummeling damage in here, but again, RAIGEKI's about to lose his Praha here, and that Oberon's out of steam, and TRUEWHALE evens it 1-1.
1-1, there's the concede. TRUEWHALE responding back in round 2.
Yeah, and that one just came down to that proc off the bat. I mean, TRUEWHALE apparently has one of the best Dominics in the world, able to proc on command, but also does so much damage when it does proc. I mean, we saw half the HP of the Volantis go down in one shot, and the other half in the other shot. It's just so much damage here, and I know RAIGEKI's Volantis is not squishy. It is not on fighter runes.
It's definitely a well-runed unit, but we all know Dominic for just dealing some insane numbers. And like you said, one of the best runed Dominics in the world here with TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, I mean, when a unit can dominate a game like that, and basically solo an entire team with a couple of procs, makes it really tough to counter. And that's what makes this matchup so difficult for RAIGEKI, is the fact that he's limited to his box here. There's so many ways TRUEWHALE can hit him from. Taking out that Sierra again is pretty interesting there earlier, but I guess it didn't really matter. There's so many ways that TRUEWHALE can approach us. We see the same pre-bans from that first match, which also makes sense.
It'll be interesting to see. So knowing that the pre-bans from last time were Ciara and more, I'm curious, are we actually going to see a Ciara and more in this match here?
I don't know if we're going to see a Ciara more here. It's tough to say here. It really depends on how the match pans out. They waste no time getting into their picks, prioritizing that Shizuka first, which is always interesting. I think TRUEWHALE really is taking that Shizuka to deny RAIGEKI that Shizuka pick, because Shizuka-Oberon combination is very powerful. You see the same opener here. We see that Ragdoll, and we see that Dominic.
I do like that opener from TRUEWHALE. I like the Shizuka. I like the denial against RAIGEKI for that one. Ragdoll Dominic is definitely something that even I look into myself. But RAIGEKI looking to draft a Masha, bringing back a Baleo.
Same drafts as that first round here. Masha Aurelio making it a little awkward for TRUEWHALE. We saw how resilient RAIGEKI's team was that first time around. Aurelio really being a key unit in this matchup here, because a person would need to burst and proc and do a lot of damage to get through that. So really strong unit here, and TRUEWHALE's going to have to think about how he wants to get through this.
I am at a loss for words. I was not expecting to see a Molly and Praha come out for TRUEWHALE here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that level of passive play here, but these are two decent picks too. I mean, Praha's very good into whatever RAIGEKI has on the field, but RAIGEKI again has one of the best Junos in the world. So it's going to come down to artifacts for this one and the additional damage that they deal over time, and I really like RAIGEKI's artifacts. So, between these two players and how they've ruined their units, I think RAIGEKI has a bit of an edge in this draft here. And that's a lot of damage that's going to be presented and threat coming out from this Oberon. So I think that's something TRUEWHALE needs to be aware of. TRUEWHALE is aware of that and takes out the Nana instead, and prefers to be okay losing a unit and dealing with the Oberon later.
Let's see if that's what's going to be happening here. He does ban out that Nana as we get into a round 3 between TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI. Dominic, a very fast Dominic, kicking things off for us here.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see which unit he goes after. TRUEWHALE might have to hope for a proc and go on that Oberon. That's exactly what he does, and gets that proc!
God! Gets the Violet proc, drops the Oberon almost immediately.
Wow, TRUEWHALE taking the previous match with a proc from that Dominic earlier and getting another proc from that Dominic. This match truly the best Dominic in the world, procking on command like that.
Really is. It was such an impressive moment there for TRUEWHALE. TRUEWHALE probably going to be using that, or uses the skill too, onto the Dominic. He wants to get that second skill up there, and we're again going to see some big numbers coming out of that Dominic, unless RAIGEKI can remove this unit from the field.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE's gonna need to dismount this Masha. This Masha does bring a lot of defense breaks, and so brings a lot of bursts and makes things awkward. I'm not sure why he's pummeling damage into that Abuelio. Does not want to trip out the passes, but I really think his first focus should be dismounting that Masha. That Masha is gonna allow RAIGEKI to climb back into the game if he's able to get it to proc a couple of times.
Let's see if he goes with that skill too. That additional turn does pop up, does not bode well for RAIGEKI here.
Yeah, in either event here, this Abuelio will eventually get the skills off. That's so much damage coming out from that Dominic.
It really is. Nice little provoke there to help keep those units back. Provoke landing on top of that Dominic. We're going to see a third skill. He's able to stun and keep back this Abuelio if he chooses to go for that.
And I don't think TRUEWHALE should be using third skill there. Wisely holds off on using that skill because Juno does have strip available. So good show of restraint from TRUEWHALE there. As expected from the former legend, RAIGEKI's just going to pummel damage into that Dominic with the Juno and look to take it out.
That is exactly what's happening here. He is pummeling that damage into that Dominic. Dominic is provoked right now, but he will be going after the not so healthy Abuelio.
Yeah, and this is TRUEWHALE's window of opportunity here. This Abuelio does proc, which is a massive proc, but it's still going to take a lot of damage on this next set of turns.
It will. It's not able to kill that Dominic. Dominic does have soul protection up. We're going to see a lot of value coming out of that skill too. Able to kill the Dominic, but doesn't get the strip. Dominic's going to revive back.
Wow, really unlucky for RAIGEKI not to get the strip onto the win unit there. Massive heal from the Juno, picked up the Abuelio here. So again, we're going to have a lot of back and forth, but really unlucky for RAIGEKI there.
Very unlucky indeed. He does have that skill too. He can throw it back onto the Dominic. Let's see if that is going to be enough. Is he going to try and go after Dominic? He is. Skill 2 is available. He could go for that dismount on top of the Masha.
I think he needs to dismount this Masha here right now because that Masha is so scary, but goes for the Abuelio and does not kill it.
Goes for the Abuelio again, but he does have the skill 1 from the Praha. That's going to remove the Abuelio from the field, and that might be what secures this victory here for TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, that definitely might be what secures that victory in this match here. TRUEWHALE has 4 units, lots of resilience, still has a Shizuka supporting the team here. RAIGEKI has 2 fire units here, and definitely not enough to take out this Praha and the Shizuka together.
Definitely not enough. Nice little additional turn there. Does have skill 2 available coming up next turn for that Shizuka. First skill is going to be enough to dismount the Masha. No additional turn coming out of the Ragdoll here. RAIGEKI trying to get a kill here onto the Dominic. Does confirm that kill. First skill available, of course, for Praha, pummeling the damage, building up all that attack bar here. Juno, I don't know what kind of value we can get out of this, but he needs to see Despair Stuns.
Yeah, RAIGEKI at this point is playing as if everything goes his way. That's exactly what you need to do if you want to come back. But that Masha didn't proc. There was no Despair Stun from that Juno. We're going to see Dominic take out this Masha here.
An easy take right there. We're just going to see skill 1. Nope, choosing to heal up his team to full. It's definitely a fine decision.
Definitely a fine decision there, but again, RAIGEKI not going to have enough burst to take out TRUEWHALE's units. It's a really well-runed Juno, but again, these are 3 very powerful units. And there we go, TRUEWHALE takes it 2-1.
That is right, 2-1. TRUEWHALE with another really big victory over RAIGEKI. He can lock it in, or RAIGEKI can take another match away going into a Game 5.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how RAIGEKI pivots. I do like RAIGEKI's draft off the bat. I mean, that Oberon would have been really difficult to deal with because I know it's a pretty tanky Oberon. Like, it's got enough HP, got enough damage, and it's statted in such a way that RAIGEKI knows that he'll be able to get a skill off unless a Dominic of that nature procs like it did there. So if that Dominic did not proc, I think Oberon would have taken out a unit.
Most definitely. I think if that Oberon did stay alive, though, I think we may have had a different outcome for RAIGEKI. So as we get into this Game 4 here, let's see what kind of outcome we have going into it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the two of them bring. I think we're going to see a very similar layout from Game 2 here, and it's just going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of balance between these units. But again, I mean, RAIGEKI just not getting the upper hand in terms of RNG today. That Oberon, I know, is on some plus damage artifacts there, and it would do a lot of work there. It would remove a key unit of TRUEWHALE's off the table there. So We'll see if Raigeki's going to be able to hold his composure here and come back. He only needs to win 2 more matches to lock in his slot for America's Cup.
I'm curious if an Abelio pre-ban might be good for TRUEWHALE, and chooses to pre-ban the CR. It's so strange when we see a CR pre-ban, and of course Dominic. Raigeki doesn't want to see this unit anymore.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that Sierra pre-ban. I would like to see the Juno pre-ban, given the fact that it is one of Raigeki's best rune units and has amazing artifacts. And that Dominic pre-ban from Raigeki makes a ton of sense. We have not seen a Moor from TRUEWHALE, so there's no reason to take out that Moor, and Raigeki's not exactly weak to a Moor just yet. But that Dominic has been proccing uncontrollably, so it definitely makes sense to take that threat off the table.
Yeah, most definitely. I love that TRUEWHALE went with a Nasher this time. It changes the pace just a little bit already very early into his draft. Raigeki locking down the segment and again the Abelio.
Yeah, and I would like to see TRUEWHALE play a Tian Lang at some point there. Raigeki's not exactly giving him the opportunity to do so, but we know Raigeki's thinking Juno later in the match here. I would like to see TRUEWHALE dip into the LDs a little bit more, use something that's a little bit more powerful. I would also like to see an Oliver. An Oliver would be a great pick at some point, even though there's a segment on the table. But TRUEWHALE decides to go for a passive Molly here, and then a Miles.
Yeah, Molly and Miles coming in for TRUEWHALE. Raigeki locking in the free-to-play unit Tessarian, as well as another free-to-play unit, Riley.
I love that Tessarian pick there. There's so many things on all 4 units on TRUEWHALE's side are weak to Tessarian at the moment. And that Tessarian's likely going to be super tanky from Raigeki. He takes the Riley to give him a little bit of resilience over time. So TRUEWHALE needs to bring a heavy hitter as his last pick, or he's not going to be able to get through Raigeki's defenses.
And it looks like TRUEWHALE's going to be locking in another water unit in the form of Praha in response to the Riley and Tessarian.
So that Praha speed buff is going to pump up that Miles a lot here. I think the form of volatility is going to come from Narsha. So Raigeki could think to ban out the Narsha, or could think to ban out the Miles if he wants to have less volatility in his matchup. Nana is also an acceptable ban, but I think Narsha is probably the scariest unit. And on Raigeki's side, I mean, Tessarian makes sense, but there's just so many threats. It's a really well-constructed thing.
Ooh, Praha is going to get the ban here. And Abelio is going to get the ban on the side of Raigeki. We've got leader skills coming out very shortly. Defense lead and HP lead. Both players are tanking up here as we get into round 4 with Raigeki versus TRUEWHALE.
And so Raigeki's going to open up with the segment here. Not open up with the segment. That's a really fast Miles. Let's see if it can get this stun on the segment that will change the pace of this game.
Ooh, choosing to go for a stun on top of the Tessarian. Not receiving anything here. Resets going out onto the Nasher, and it does land true.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that he didn't go for that stun on that segment there earlier, because the stun on that segment and then with burst from the Narsha would do a lot in this game here. But instead goes for the Tessarian, and TRUEWHALE's now going to be on the back foot here. It does not have a lot of burst and has Oblivion up on that Miles, and it's not going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to do a ton of damage here. It does have the cleanse available with this Molly. So you could choose to cleanse this unit, or hold on to the cleanse, because some dangerous things can pop up onto this field.
Yeah, but again, that Oblivion on that Miles is going to be really detrimental. There's a lot of sustain coming out from this Riley. This Narsha is going to need a proc if TRUEWHALE wants a chance to win. That Tessarian's Oblivion is just going to be so powerful here, and that's a massive proc.
That's a massive proc, not able to get the kill on top of the Narsha. With that Oblivion, it would have just removed Narsha from the field. It would have been revived back with that last orb sitting on top of Nana.
Yeah, but that Narsha is also not going to do any damage with an Oblivion. And that orb is burned off. That Miles still not going to do damage. It has a 2-turn Oblivion on it, so Raigeki is in a very good spot here, and it's going to have skill 2 from that segment, which is going to land a lot of defense breaks.
Ooh, a lot of defense breaks indeed on top of the Molly and the Narsha. Narsha does get dismounted here. We can go for a skill 2 here. Any despair stuns coming through? I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't believe we have enough despair stuns there, and we also have a very squishy Narsha here that might go down. TRUEWHALE preemptively gives it a shield, which is a wise move here, but I don't know if he's going to be able to survive.
Yep, there's that third skill coming out with Shizuka. Stuns up all of TRUEWHALE's units here.
Yeah, and that's a massive proc from the Riley, because he now has cleanse on the next turn, which is a big deal here. Raigeki's going to do a ton of damage onto this Narsha soon.
Yep, a lot of damage coming out shortly. Narsha trying to stay alive just as long as possible here. No additional turns coming out from TRUEWHALE. Molly trying to heal the team as much as possible. We've got totems available for the Riley. Full buffs on the side of Raigeki.
Yeah, and Raigeki just looking so good here. Has great tanky units. TRUEWHALE does not have an orb left. He does get a proc on that Miles, but that Miles is not going to do enough over time. There's not enough burst left on TRUEWHALE's side as he loses this Narsha here.
Yeah, Narsha's definitely going down. There's not much TRUEWHALE could do about that. Not enough sustain, and the Miles just not popping off like Miles could.
Yeah, Miles definitely not popping off because he needs a lot of burst here. Would need a proc there, but look at how much damage it does. It doesn't do very much damage at all to that Tessarian there. So unfortunately, TRUEWHALE is just not going to be able to secure a kill on any unit here.
Yep, there's the additional turns coming out of Shizuka. Shizuka with skill 2 available, bringing down the cooldowns with Sekhmet going for the Cursive. Beautiful, landing all those negative effects here. And we can see Tessarians popping off here, removing the Molly from the field. There are no orbs available to bring that unit back. RAIGEKI taking round 4 away from TRUEWHALE.
Wow, what a match there. I mean, I don't think we've seen too many Tessarians today, so it's great to see that unit in action, and I really like how RAIGEKI statted his Tessarian. It really feels like it's minus water because, you know, TRUEWHALE's got great runes. That Miles is gonna hit very hard, but it really did like 15% onto that Tessarian. I still kind of question the opening when TRUEWHALE did not use the Miles to at least attempt to stun that Sekhmet, because I think TRUEWHALE's path to victory is to get an opening with that Narsha and take a unit out with a proc. Which is sad to say. I think he needs that proc to win because RAIGEKI has such a resilient team there. And TRUEWHALE, not enough damage. You have 2 damage dealers, but one is not a heavy burst damage dealer. Miles is a damage over time unit, unless it procs. But Narsha is your burst, and that's about it. So if Narsha goes down, your entire team falls apart there.
Yeah, the Tessarian was an amazing draft. It's a free-to-play unit. It was an amazing unit for RAIGEKI. RAIGEKI looking so good in that 4th round, but for us to be going into a Game 5 feels just right with TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI.
And I did say earlier, if it goes to 2-2, it can be anyone's game here. I know we gave the edge to TRUEWHALE earlier, but it really could go any way. It is a coin flip. RAIGEKI will have to face this Dominic this round, and we know how much that Dominic likes to proc. We know how powerful it is, how much damage it does. So we'll see if RAIGEKI's able to draft around that unit.
I almost want to say pre-bans were the issue. Seeing all that CR pre-ban, I just don't know if that was the unit for TRUEWHALE to be giving so much focus to. But Sekhmet and Tian Lang are going to be the units pre-ban this time.
That's true. We haven't seen a Sekhmet coming out, and I also don't know if, or we haven't seen a Sierra coming out, and I don't know if that's a Sierra. Well, we do see a Sierra coming out, which is really interesting here. TRUEWHALE does have an Narsha. The weakness of the Sierra is the fact that it generally is a little squishy. Now, I think RAIGEKI's is kind of tanky, but it generally has to be squishy because of all the stats you have to bring on it. So it's weak to things like Narsha. It's weak sometimes to things like Ragdolls and Tianlangs. They make it a little awkward for a Sierra. So it's right up TRUEWHALE's alley to fight a unit like that. So kind of interesting to see that RAIGEKI prioritizes the Sierra this early.
Yeah, very interesting. It's funny that RAIGEKI chose to shut me up in that moment, but Dominic and Ragdoll coming up for TRUEWHALE, and RAIGEKI is going to respond.
And this is where if I had LD units here, if I was RAIGEKI and had LD units, I would have taken like an Isis or a Light Monkey or something like that. Volantis is a great pick here. Praha's an interesting pick here going into the Dominic. It tells me he's likely going to ban out the Dominic unless TRUEWHALE makes another interesting pick here.
I think he has to make a very, very good pick for TRUEWHALE here, and he is going to be taking that Juno away, the Juno being so good up against the Volantis. I think RAIGEKI is going to be banning out that Dominic, knowing how fast that Dominic is.
I don't know if RAIGEKI can ban out that Dominic though, because I really like these last 2 picks from TRUEWHALE. That Juno is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to pick up his team a lot. It's pretty much the perfect pick in a RAIGEKI there. That Abuelo is going to make it a little awkward. And that's exactly why RAIGEKI needs to bring in that burst damage there. You're going to see that for sure Ragdoll is going to be left in the game, but there's just so much resilience from TRUEWHALE's side of the field. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Dominic. There we go. The Dominic's taken out, and again, the Oberon's going to present so much volatility. So TRUEWHALE's going to have a lot of healing come out from this Juno, a lot of damage over time. But I don't know if TRUEWHALE has enough sustain where the Abuelo can heal off enough to keep his team up.
Yeah, I don't know about the damage either. I know we're getting a lot of additional damage out of that Juno, and the Ragdoll's going to provide all that he can. We'll find out if TRUEWHALE's got what it takes to take this round 5 victory over RAIGEKI, or is RAIGEKI going to come out on top in this Game 5? Here we go.
And we see an opening from this Volantis here, and RAIGEKI's really going to be looking to get a lot of procs from the Sierra over time. Going to need to litter the field with bombs if he wants a chance to win. But we'll see how this goes. RAIGEKI has a very well-runed Sierra. It's not a lot of damage that Juno did to it.
You're going to see the additional damage coming out more and more with these Oracles on the field. I think the priority for TRUEWHALE definitely is going to be focusing down this CR no matter what. Going for a wild blow, not really getting any value out of it. Bomb's coming out on top of the Nana. Nana does take that bomb. Does he choose to detonate or not? Chooses not to. Gets the additional turn though, so bomb's coming up next turn.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage going on to this Nana, already at half health there, and you see TRUEWHALE just tunneling down the CR here. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. Juno's going to need to blow its skill 2 here, but it's going to be a tough spot for TRUEWHALE here. I mean, there's a lot of damage coming out from RAIGEKI, lots of bombs, lots of additional damage.
Yeah, he needed to see a couple more Despair Stuns in there. He did get a little bit of value getting that Despair Stun on top of the Praha. We get another bomb available with the CR. CR is looking to apply this bomb potentially to the Nana to remove that unit from the field.
Yeah, and again, we see why TRUEWHALE pre-banned that CR. That CR is doing so much, and that's a massive proc coming from this Praha here.
Yeah, big proc there, able to sleep everybody on side of TRUEWHALE's side of the field, healing up his own team. Skill 2's coming out, maybe on the CR. He's looking for more bombs, potentially.
Yeah, and that Juno kind of looks like it has Guardian 1 artifacts, only doing 1.5 damage per hit here, so definitely not a RAIGEKI Juno. So TRUEWHALE's really going to need to find a way to get some damage in on RAIGEKI.
Yeah, he is. He's looking really, really low with all these bombs that are coming out as fast as they are. Nana still on the field, not being destroyed by that bomb yet. We've got Shizuka with no skills up just yet.
Yeah, Shizuka's going to have skill 2 up coming in, and Sierra does have more bombs. TRUEWHALE's looking a little shaky here. RAIGEKI's just looking for his opportunity to be able to sink in damage and avoid and play around the heals from Obelio here. It's a lot of damage, and those are massive procs coming out from Sierra.
Yeah, definitely some big procs and massive additional damage coming out of that CR first skill as well. Juno trying to look for some value, potentially going for a big strip here. No, choosing to go for skill 1 onto the CR. CR being the unit priority for TRUEWHALE still.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE does need to take out that Sierra. That's just too many bombs coming up. But at this point, Sierra does have another bomb coming up because of how much it procced here. And there's not enough heal, not enough sustain coming out from Obelio. Obelio did not proc enough here. So TRUEWHALE is going to be losing his Ragdoll and probably losing his Nana next.
Yeah, very much so. There goes the Nana. There goes the Ragdoll. I think that's going to be it for TRUEWHALE. TRUEWHALE's trying to hold on to dear life there. Does get that Despair Stun out on the CR. CR with the additional turn. Bomb getting planted. He's going to choose to detonate. Is that going to be it here? And it might be.
Might be enough, but even if he's able to survive this onslaught here, that's a massive proc. Does get the heal for the Juno here, so it really is anyone's game at this point, but RAIGEKI still has a lot of momentum.
RAIGEKI really does have a lot of momentum. Praha is going to be providing so much damage with all that additional damage out there. Keep in mind, you're still going to get the value out of the Shizuka third skill. There is a lot of bombs there. He's able to place another bomb by bringing back that CR back here. We'll see if Abel is going to be able to take that one.
And we actually see 2,000 hits going on to this Volantis, so that is actually a well-runed Juno, just a really well-runed Sierra as well here. TRUEWHALE does need to do a lot of damage. Might be able to take out this Volantis here.
Yeah, we'll see. He does get up with a wild blow, drops that Volantis. We've got no additional turns coming out of the Shizuka, more additional damage coming out of the first skill up this Praha, potentially onto the Juno. Chooses to go after the Abelio instead.
Wow, and this is so difficult for RAIGEKI here. He needs to get through this Abelio, but Abelio does, and Abelio blows up there, does not have heal, and dies.
Abelio gets removed from the field. I feel like TRUEWHALE needed that Despair Stun on top of the Shizuka. I don't think RAIGEKI is going to use that third skill because Juno's just going to heal up from all of the everything Shizuka will apply to it.
Definitely not. This Praha does so much damage, and there goes Juno. And RAIGEKI's able to upset TRUEWHALE 3-2.
3-2, RAIGEKI taking down TRUEWHALE.